going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes. We're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no.
Hell yes, we're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Oh, yeah, there you are. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It's our PM show. If you're here at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live Monday through Friday, that means you're a subscriber at the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com, or you're on X. Otherwise, you're not here live. I recommend doing just that, becoming a premium member on the Prepared Mind. You can join us live every day. It's a much smaller crowd than the zoo on Sunday. And, well, in a lot of ways, every bit as important as we march through the week, catalog, document, and think about SHTF, because it is coming. The reason I had that jackass Beto in our disclaimer, imagine, if you would, being in England, being overrun with Jihad Joe Islamic terrorists, and they're coming at you with knives, bats, machetes, and an IQ below 80. Same scenario, you're in Canada, and you are heavily restricted on firearms, and you have no right to self-defense, and you've got Jihad Joe, radical Muslim murdering bastards coming at you with, well, knives, bats, or machetes and swords. What are you going to do? Well, in America, we told Beto this: we're not giving up our guns, not our handguns, not our shotguns, and not our so-called assault rifles. No, thank you. I'll keep them all, including crossbows, knives, bats, swords, and machetes. Right? We will protect ourselves. And I don't think the Jihad Joes really quite understand that about America yet. They might, but then again, they've got IQs under 80, and most of them, I would say, are probably falling under 70. Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's good buddy remember his name was Mahmoud Khalil. Just 2 days after his release from jail, this pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, pro-Hezbollah activist is leading a protest outside of Columbia University. And guess what he's calling for? Global Intifada. You know what that stands for? You know what that means? It stands for murder all Christians, murder all non-Muslims. Thank you, AOC. Thank you, Rashid Tlaib. Thank you, Ilhan Omar. Thank you, Jihad Squad. They want murder in our streets, folks. They want chaos and mayhem and bedlam. Are you prepared for what is coming? Whether you want to blame Trump or whether you want to thank Trump over what has happened in Iran, it's up to you. Right? I like I said, I've had an axe to grind with not Iran as a country or the Persian people, but rather their radical, anti-white, anti-West, anti-Christian, anti-freedom, anti-thinking, right? Their attack on the world. Their attack on the world. All right. Holy crap. Chin Music made it. Ooh, man. Chin Music just did a $52.23 super chat donation. Unfortunately, we didn't get him last night. He had too many irons in the fire, but he's always welcome here. And well, shit, man, Monday through Friday, you're on here. We want you on here all the time, Chin, because you bring us awesome reports from the border and awesome, shall we say, freedom-related perspectives and stories and reports. But all you guys, thank you very much for being here Monday through Friday. Now, this is interesting. Iran threatened Trump, the president. It would activate its sleeper cells if the United States government attacked them. You know what? It's patriots, veterans are excited about this. I mean, I am very excited. I've seen the memes where that one funny goofball actor, right, he's like, woo, excited, holding his rifle. Yeah, patriots and veterans are excited for the terrorists to expose themselves. And I don't mean like the way they expose themselves before they screw a goat. I mean, expose themselves as terrorists to us. Now, as excited as I am for that to happen, yes, I understand completely that if and when these sleeper cells are activated, Americans are going to die. Not all of us, not even most of us, but many will die. And everybody are going to have this as a learning event, a very hard lesson about patriotism, about freedom, and about treason. The question I have is, are you prepared for this to occur on our streets? I think it's a fair question. I think it's a realistic question. I think we should all ask this question of ourselves, of our friends, our groups, our neighbors. People are going to have to die before they realize how dangerous this is. And I don't mean the occasional murder and rape, theft and home invasion, the way we're dealing with it now. It's going to have to be a massive display of mayhem coming from these illegals. I want them to do it. I really do. Because Americans are asleep at the fucking wheel. Hell, half the country are Democrats and absolutely retarded. And out of that, 40% of them think that the Democrats are just doing a great job destroying children's lives, sterilizing children, brainwashing children, going after this country, destroying everything, opening the borders, destroying the military, ruining our economy, stealing everything, giving it away to these illegals. Yeah, 40% of Democrats think that's great. That's the 20% of America that approves of the Democrats. My question for you at this moment, this very moment, is do you want to see this happen? Do you want the Islamic jihad sleeper cells to get active and take out power, take out roads, bridges, attack Americans? Now, I don't want them to do that so that people get hurt. But it seems like short of that, Americans are not going to wake up and realize what an existential threat to liberty and freedom these foreigners are, whether they're drug dealing cartels from Central and South America and Mexico, whether they're radical jihadis from the Middle East and Northern Africa, or whether they're socialist communist bastards serving their banker and corporate masters out of Europe and, of course, Washington, D.C. and New York. Right? It's going to have to happen at some point, and I'd rather have it happen while I'm in my 50s and not my 90s. But I think it's coming. I'm ready. I got my beans, got my bullets, got my Spam, got my tuna fish, and a couple extra bottles of scotch. Do you, and are you ready? I think it's a fair question. I don't mean to be glib about it, but we need to get rid of the problems. Right now, you're not feeling good. This is my analogy. You're not feeling good. You're like, man, I feel like shit. I don't know what's wrong, though. Right? You finally go to the doctor and you realize you've got, pick a fucking disease, cancer. And you're like, okay, this is going to hurt. This could cost me an arm. It could cost me a leg, some serious surgeries. It's going to suck. It's going to hurt, but I can solve the problem. Now that I know why I was feeling shitty. America, you're sick. United States of America, you have cancer. United States of America, are you ready to finally deal with that cancer? And when you're in there dealing with the jihad cancer, you discover, holy crap, communist cancer. Whoosh, let's get rid of it too. See what I'm saying? Now, there's all kinds of cancers around the world, folks. Oh, also, down below. Get your questions in because I'm going to do my 30-minute monologue. Then it's your turn. We're going to have some fun here. Now, over in France, Vive la France, a French newspaper. The French newspaper, Le Monde. That means the world. The newspaper Le Monde has somehow magically discovered that the army in Ukraine is Nazi. You bet. They actually took pictures and have put in their newspaper the hundreds and hundreds of soldiers from the 3rd Assault Brigade displaying Third Reich symbology in banners, posters, tattoos, clothing, etc. Isn't it kind of funny how you and I, as the conspiracy guys, we knew these Nazis were there years before Le Monde, which is mainstream media in Europe, before they even figured it out. Right now, the question I have is the mainstream media in France, England, Germany, all of Europe, are they going to cut Ukraine loose and let them fall to Russia? This could be the next step in that, is exposing them for what they are, a bunch of fucking Nazis. And they've been giving Nazis money. Hell, if I tried giving money to Nazis or some jihad group, before my check even cleared their bank account, there'd be the FBI on my door knocking, going, "Hey, John, what do you think you're doing?" But the big banks, they want to give money to the Nazis? No problem. The government, all the governments want to give money to Nazis? No problem. No problem. Shit. What a fucking day. What a weekend. In Michigan, we had that lunatic crash his vehicle into a church in an attempt to kill people, and he was shot dead by church parishioners who had concealed permits. It was no police. They had to protect themselves. Well, guess what? The suspect, his name has been released, and his Democrat weaponry. Ooh. I'm going to call him a Democrat. Brian Anthony Browning. Mentally deranged Democrat. Guess what? He was armed with an assault rifle, AR-15 style. He had more than a dozen magazines of ammunition. His handgun had an extended magazine. Oh, my God. He had hundreds of rounds of ammunition, folks. But don't worry, you can go to the store, you can go to a school, you can go to a church, you can just drive down the road and not worry, because people like this Democrat are just mostly peaceful mass murderers. That's it. We're all safe. It's mostly peaceful. I'm glad this guy was shot. He's got mental problems. He's a lunatic. And now I believe he's dead. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he survive the hospital trip? Doctors have failed us. You're probably going, "John, where the fuck did that come from?" Doctors have failed us. They failed us on cerveza-bug COVID. They could have just come out and said, "That's a fucking cold." And many doctors did. But a lot of them lied. They wanted to give us drugs and treatments. They wanted to hospitalize us so they could make money on us. Right? Doctors have failed us with mental health. Well, let's just give you some drugs. And if you don't take them, then you go psychotic. What a great idea, doctors. Way to go. Way to go. Anyways, doctors have failed us. Local authorities have failed us. Washington, D.C. has failed the entire United States of America. Big Marge, Representative Marge Taylor Greene, had this to say to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. "Shut up, you pathetic little hypocrite." Yeah, right. That's what Big Marge said because she backed the Ukraine war when Biden was president. And now she's pretending to be anti-war. Washington, D.C. has failed us, folks. The hypocrisy and the retardation are rampant. And our tax dollars fund that. Our tax dollars open the borders and let these people in. Our tax dollars are used in propaganda to convince the American people to support ridiculous wars and to hide the facts about us regarding, well, the LGBTQers, the BLMers and Antifa types, the radical Muslims, and their plan for radical, violent takeover of Europe, Canada, America, Australia. Folks, the Quran itself is a manual on invasion, takeover, and subjugation of other countries. It literally is that. And we're funding it. Or rather, the United States government sticks a gun in your face to take your money, threatens you with jail time, you give them the money, and then they bring in these people to threaten us some more. Well, there's good news in this, a little bit anyways. Let's go over the good news, shall we? Blue cities, blue states. Well, DC has failed us, and now those blue cities in blue states are going to fail themselves 100%. There's a poll that shows the Muslim socialist candidate for New York City's mayor contest. This guy has passed Andrew Cuomo. Right now, Andrew Cuomo is a disgraced, slimy piece of shit. But Zoran Mamdani is a young, violent Muslim socialist. How amazing is that? He's both communist and anti-Christian, anti-American, anti-freedom, all in one. And New York City's ranked choice primary has him in the lead. Here's a question for you. Who is going to stay behind in cities like New York City and fall into chaos, absolute chaos? Who wants to stay behind? And you know what's going to happen after they fail? After hundreds of people have had their property, lives, businesses, wealth absolutely destroyed, guess what? These same scumbag idiot Democrats are going to expect you and me to bail them out after they destroy everything, steal money, and waste it on themselves, waste it on ridiculous programs. It's unbelievable, folks. Now, some big news this afternoon. Iran launched 10 missiles at American bases in Qatar. Yep. And Qatar, apparently, allegedly, shot down every single missile. 0 injuries. And there's claims that Iran launched these missiles to save face with their own people, but they gave advanced warning to Qatar so they could shoot them down. I'm going to ask you, what do you believe? Was this retaliation as promised by Iran? And they did. They threatened the country. They threatened Trump. They threatened the people, saying if we attacked them and Trump bombed the shit out of them, that they would attack us. Well, not a very good job of attacking us. I don't know what to believe anymore with these people. They are absolutely retarded. And a lot of people today in social media, which is a much more reliable source of intelligent information and opinion than the mainstream media, in right-wing, alternate, social media, a lot of people are claiming Trump's bombing of these 3 facilities in Iran stopped Israel from launching nukes and have basically saved not only our country, but the world from a greater threat. And that threat would have been nuclear exchange if Israel didn't get its way and couldn't stop Iran, and they would have to drop nukes. Crazy business, folks. It really is. Shit has hit the fan. Do you have doubts? If you have doubts, sell all your guns. Sell all your ammunition. Sell all your food and all your preps. Just get rid of it all if you feel safe now. I know you don't. Now, Iran is continuing to talk tough. And the memes on the internet are fucking hilarious. But a military spokesman from Iran has now decided he's going to shoot his mouth off some more. This isn't the Ayatollah Khomeini or whatever the hell his name is. It's just their spokesman. He said, "Warriors of Islam." Okay, not Iranians, not Persians, not people of Iran. Islam, a religion. Warriors of our ridiculous, fucked up, retarded religion is what he started with. Warriors of Islam will launch powerful and well-planned operations. You started this war, but we will finish it, says this military spokesman. I got to hand it to him, folks. The religious wacko zealot Iranians, they are ballsy. Stupid, but ballsy. And I think the Army and Marines accept their proposal with glee. I know that we're not the only ones that would like to just erase these fuckheads off the planet, both in Iran and the ones that have snuck into our country under the Joe Biden administration. It's coming, folks. There's going to be a lot more coming. We're not done. Now, the press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, she's not saying, she's keeping her cards close to the vest, as they say in the world of poker. It's not saying if Trump is going to, assassinate the Ayatollah. Not saying that Trump wants regime change. And she goes so far as to suggest that the Iranian people should rise up. This is her response to the threat of the Strait of Hormuz closure. That's what this response from Carolyn was about. Now, I wanted to find out what normal Iranians are thinking, normal Persians, if you will. They're not happy with the United States bombing them. And they're not happy with the Ayatollah and this radical Muslim regime. They're not happy with either. They're between what's known as a rock and a hard place. See, the Iranians hate the Ayatollah, but they don't trust the West. They don't trust Europe. They don't trust Donald Trump. Not because they can't trust Trump, but because history is a better representative of what's going on than the words that come out of politicians' mouths. They don't trust the West after what has happened to nations that were freed. Let me give you the names. Libya went from a stable country under Muammar Gaddafi to absolute shit show. Raped oil and natural resources, lawless warlords. They don't trust the West after what happened in Syria. Once again, raped natural resources, lawless Muslims killing Christians everywhere. They don't trust what happened in Iraq after they were freed. Iraq, yeah, guess what? Once again, local warlords, political thieves took all the resources and the people didn't benefit. In fact, I think the United States government still controls the wealth that was generated by freeing the oil fields. Let's continue. Afghanistan. The people of Afghanistan are now back under the control of the Taliban with one extra thing. You got $80 billion in United States military equipment. Thank you, Joe Biden. Thank you, General Milli Vanilli. Thank you to everybody in the Biden and Democrat Party. And Afghanistan had their natural resources raped, and they now have lawless warlords. So freeing a country is not appealing. That's the upshot here. That's the complete upshot to this. Can you blame the Afghans? I'm sorry. Can you blame the Persians? Can you blame the Iranian people for being a little bit suspicious? Well, again, the answer is yes. Now back to this whole bombing, the bad guys. Big Marge has been out on top, and she said, hey, look, I still support Trump. but I'm also allowed to criticize him. Okay. What kind of criticisms have you got? Marge Taylor Greene, Big Marge, huh? Well, she questions this bunker buster strike. Okay, we went in there and we struck Iran, right? She says that we got involved in a hot war that Israel started. That's a quote. Hot war that Israel started. But she noted the drug cartels remain untouched. And I'm going to add, we were promised many other things like the Epstein files. Untouched. Now, this is what Trump stated early on with respect to the drug cartels. He said, quote, we will show no mercy on the cartels. He said that they will, quote, deploy all necessary military assets, including Navy, Special Forces, cyber warfare, and other overt actions to, quote, inflict maximum damage on cartel leadership, infrastructure, and operations. Thank you, Big Marge. Yeah, so Israel starts a shitstorm over there. America says, well, we owe you fuckers some payback, and you've been threatening us anyways. So we're going to stomp you so you can't create a nuclear weapon. Great, fine, it's done. My question is, when will we, the people, be represented by our own government in D.C.? When will we, the people, be served by our own government in D.C.? When will we, the people, be protected? I think these are all legitimate questions. When will our children and the children of the world be given justice for what the uber powerful have done and are doing to children? When? Great. You just made Israel fucking happy. We just did Israel's dirty work that they couldn't do for themselves. It was necessary to protect ourselves and Israel and the whole world from a nuclear weapons powered and armed radical religious Iran. When, folks, when? That's my question. And this is just Monday. Fuck all of that, and it's only Monday. What do you guys want to talk about? What I want to do is turn the show over to you guys over at the Inner Circle. Are you prepared? Let's do it. Woo, and we're back. We got a good crowd here on this fine Monday afternoon. Oh, by the way, I listened to a number of economists who, once again, they're not American, and they came out and said America has been in a recession for years, and it's being denied, it's being hidden, it's being covered up, and they're not going to be able to do it much longer. Their beliefs are that we're going to start seeing an increase in inflation, not just because of gas, even though the price of oil is part of it. We're going to see real inflation, and we're going to see companies either going under, cutting back. Expect it to happen. Are you prepared? Now, financially, a way to be prepared, and this is not, once you have all your preps, gold and silver is a great way to store your wealth in your own hands. Right there. Gold and silver. Storing your wealth in your own hands. If a bank fails, that coin is still here in the Prepared Mind bunker. And it's just going to be worth a whole lot more, because when they go to QE, in fact, how many people on here have never heard of QE? Like they did QE, folks, over 15 years ago. Approximately 15 years is when they started it. I don't think a lot of people today either remember it or ever really paid any attention. Quantitative easing, massive money printing in order to save the banks. That's what this is going to be about. Once again, saving them. And instead of bailing them out this time, they may do QE, but they also may do bank bail-ins. Something that has concerned me once they made that legal. I was like, nope, money in the bank is not safe. Not one bit. All right, let's do this. Mr. Uman, let's step into the minefield of questions, comments, thoughts, and predictions. And it's Redneck Roughneck. He says, I say that when we deport these illegals, we drop them in different countries. Like by the time the chloroform wears off, they find themselves in Afghanistan, naked and duct taped to a post in town. You want to talk about, this is interesting. I've never considered this. Sending people to the wrong countries on purpose. So you send people from Venezuela to Afghanistan. Whoops. They're going to find out they don't like them very much. And the people in Afghanistan won't like the Venezuelans too much. And people from Afghanistan, people from Pakistan, people from, I don't know, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Morocco, name your radical screwball country, send them down to El Salvador, send them down to Colombia, send them to Panama, and dump their dumb asses there and find out how much they like Latin Americans. And the Latin Americans, I don't think they're going to like a bunch of Muslims there because Latin Americans are Catholic. I think everyone from those areas of the world are going to look at America and go, don't want nothing to do with that, because when they catch me, I'm going to be on the fucking menu in the country they send me to. Brilliant, Redneck Roughneck. You need to write that up in a very professional, dare I say, collegiate style. 1 page, less than 1 page total, between the heading, the addressing, and the signature. Send it to Congress and say, this is what we need to do. I propose this, right? So that people from other countries will not consider coming here unlawfully. Because coming here unlawfully across our border is not the same as a citation for jaywalking or speeding. No. But I think that would scare them all to fucking death. I think that'll be great. Thank you, Redneck Roughneck. Now let's move on if we shall. Mr. Uman, what is the next topic of discussion? And it's chin music. What I want to remind everyone is here weekly, even daily, participating, sharing, networking, and that's what this is about. That's why I say share the internet address, videos, get them out there. Save them, I don't care. Put them on other networks, I don't care. I really don't give a shit. You know, John the Prepared Mind on YouTube. You know, the Prepared Mind on X. I don't care. I want the message out there. So Chin Music says, John, I saw in the news that some farm animal loving Jihad Joe is leading Cuomo in the race for New York City mayor. Are those two really the best they have to offer? Let me answer that question before moving on. Is Andrew Cuomo, any of the Cuomos, the best New York City has? Is this goat fucker from another country, is he the best they have to offer? The answer is no. What it tells you, though, is this is what the Democrat Party is offering. Do you want communist light, or do you want jihad communist in your face? There's your options. Now, this is a primary race, meaning it's Democrats. And the Republican in New York City will not stand a chance because New York is blue. And the Democrat Party wants to destroy the whole fucking country. So if they want to do that, why would they give a shit about New York City? They want to take over the cities that are blue, which is just about all big cities. And they want to take over states that are blue because the Democrats keep putting up the absolute worst, most anti-American fucking candidates. Not only is this fucking clown who's in the lead there, not only is he not an American, he's not patriotic, he's not a Christian, he's not an intellectual, he is a communist. If you want to call him a socialist, fine. But they are godless. But wait a minute, John, you said he's Muslim. Yeah. I don't believe that they serve a God. Certainly not a God of forgiveness and kindness and life and liberty. Not that kind of a God. Their God is what? A cult of death. So it's easy because the government under communism is a cult of death. You will serve that master or you're dead. So it fits right in. Communism works just fine with jihadism because they will murder everyone, take absolute control, steal all the wealth, redistribute it to the people they like, and leave you for fucking dead. This is not a surprise. If you've never heard of this ritual, it's exactly what the Russian communists did. It's exactly what the Chinese communists did. It's what the Cuban communists did. It's what all the South American communists have done. It's what the Vietnamese communists did. Ho Chi Minh, not just a cool sounding name. They want to go in, they're godless, and they want to slaughter everyone that opposes them and make their form of government your God. And you will serve it and obey it and bend the knee to it, and they'll take everything you've got, including your life. Communism is no friend of mine or yours, and it's certainly the opposite of everything that this is about. The U.S. Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, was put in place to force the government to serve us. Is government serving you? Is your federal government doing what it needs to? No, we have no national representation anymore. State governments failing left and right, falling under this anti-American spell. Oh, there's a price to pay, and we're all going to have to pay it. The question, though, is at the end of the day, who's going to be left standing? Well, I'm putting my money on American men and women, patriots and vets. That's who my money is on. But it doesn't mean there isn't going to be a hell of a price to pay. And I really believe that the longer we go between violent removal of evil, the bigger the price is going to pay. Right? Jefferson said every 20 years we need to have a revolution because the tree of liberty needs to, from time to time, be watered with the blood of tyrants and patriots. Well, it hasn't been 20 years since that happened last. And you might say that not since the Civil War has that price been paid. So anywhere from 150 to 250 years ago. That's a long time. That's a lot more than 20 years. That means the tree of liberty is damn thirsty. And the government needs a reminder of what liberty is all about and their roles as servants of the people, not servants of the bank, servants of royalty, servants of the rich, servants of particular religions that want to kill everybody. Are you prepared, folks? Get your questions, comments down below. Uman's in charge behind the scenes. And it just might, he just might be the guy running everything. Anyways, part 2 of Chin Music. He says, I welcome the opportunity to have a one-on-one, hand-to-hand, American-style social studies class with one of these deodorant-hating goat fuckers. Any of them and all of them, Chin, my brother. I'm telling you, the time will come. The time will come. And I think it's coming sooner rather than later at this point. But you may not have a chance to go after the deodorant-hating goat fuckers. You may have to deal with some drug cartel members. You may have to deal with some white liberal American Antifa types who claim to be Antifa or BLM or pro-Hamas or pro-Hezbollah. But tell you what, when you get a chance to liberate America, Chin Music, don't be picky. No. And be greedy. Take care of all of them that you can. Because what I don't want is for them to see their buddies wiped out over here. Oh, shit, Antifa just got wiped out. Oh, crap. The pro-Palestinians just got greased. I don't want the ones that are left over hiding back under rocks. Every one of these liberal bastards that puts a face mask on, you know why they do that, don't you? Yes, it's so they don't get arrested tomorrow or the next day. But they want to be able to hide their identity. They want to be able to go back to their work, back into the military, back into your neighborhood, and pretend like that was never them. But they won't give up on their ideas. They're sick, twisted, murderous, evil fucking ideas. They'll just go back to being normal. Normal. They'll pretend. If they had balls, these white liberals, guess what they would do? They would take off their masks and they would confront America openly. But they're cowards. They're pussies. That's what they are. And so they're going to hide who they are from us. Have you noticed that these jackasses in protests wear their keffiyehs over their mouths, their face? Yeah, they're cowards. I want a good, honest, out in our face attempt to take over the country so that the government will have no choice but to turn to the American people and say, we failed you. We need you to help us restore order. And maybe that's just a pipe dream of mine. It's a hell of a dream that the government kisses our ass and we set the fucking record straight. And I know that that's the sentiment that a lot of you have and that Chin Music has. In any event, let us continue if we shall. Mr. Uman, what is the next topic? And by the way, I'm not calling for violence. I'm calling for self-preservation and preserving our republic. And I want to once again remind everyone, including and especially the government, that according to the Declaration of Independence, we have both a right and a duty to eliminate tyrants and tyranny. Heidi checks in next, though. And she says, I didn't used to dislike Iran, but they changed my mind. A lot of people have forgotten, Heidi, that they have chanted death to America for decades. A lot of people have forgotten that they killed and took hostages in 1979, Americans. A lot of people have forgotten and don't understand that they burn the faces of their women with acid if they refuse to obey their Muslim requirements. If women don't cover their face, they'll throw acid in it. If women don't cover their face and don't cover their body, the men are obligated to rape them. They can just lose control and rape women, murder women, stone women. They marry off their girls anywhere from age 9 to age 15 to old men, age 40, age 50, even age 30, even age 20. It's wrong. That's what they do. That's what the Iranians and all the other Muslim nations do. And I'm going to end my little anti-Iran thing. Whoops, slip. Anti-Iran thing with 1983. They suicide bombed the Marine barracks in Lebanon and killed a lot of Marines. I have never liked Iran, though I like Persian people. And I've met many of them who have escaped Iran and come to America. legally, lawfully, as political, shall we say, refugees. And I know there's a lot of good Iranian people still in Iran, good Persian people in Iran, but it is the government of Iran that I do not like. The same way I don't have a problem with Ukrainian people, but I have a problem with Ukrainian government. I love the German people, but I do not like the German government or the French government or the Spanish government, right? Or the British government. Good God, the British government. The Swedish, Norwegian, the Danes, their governments have just turned their countries over to these rapists and murderers, and they're now having to pay the price in their countries. It's a fucking mess, in other words. Anyways, Heidi, please be safe. And we got Do Stuff with Nikki. And she says, a lot of them my age escaped to Germany. Highly intelligent. We talking about the Iranians? Yep. Uman says, yeah, that's what she's referring to. Yeah. By the way, doing stuff with Nikki. She speaks German. I think she was in Germany. I think she speaks a little Russian as well. A lot of exposure here on the Prepared Mind channel by our viewers to other cultures, other languages, other political systems. And here we are. Yeah. The Iranians. Thank you, Nikki. Yes, the Iranians. The Persians, the intelligent Iranians who aren't inbred Muslim dumbfucks are intelligent people, right? And hey, the Pakistanis, they've got nuclear weapons too. How is that possible? If they're a bunch of low IQ, retarded goat fuckers. Well, because those that aren't inbred, retarded, radical, militant, religious fruitcakes, they were and are intelligent people. But who's in charge of those countries now? Yeah. The low IQ, radical, religious freaks. And they want you and me dead. They want Germany destroyed, France, England. They want all of Scandinavia destroyed. And guess who? The government of those nations, including the government of the United States of America in Washington, D.C., they want us dead too. Look at all these Democrats calling for the end of white men. Oh, white men bad. And by the way, all of you black men, that includes you. If you love America and you're Christian, they lump you right in here with all of us honkies. All of us white guys, don't matter what color your skin is. If you are not for the Democrats, you're as good as dead to them. And I'm glad to see as many black folks, men and women, standing up for the United States of America and ignoring the bullshit, the hyperbole, the lies, the propaganda, the indoctrination. And they left that plantation behind and they're thinking for themselves. It doesn't matter if you're Native American or Asian. It doesn't matter if you're white or black. All of these radical Muslims will kill you just as quick as me once they have enough power and authority. And they're demonstrating that in other countries. Seriously. All right. Well, thank you, Nikki, for that. Mr. Uman, where do we want to roll next? And Uman says, probably a face-saving move with no intent to do actual damage. Now he's talking about the missiles that were launched, or rockets, at the American bases in Qatar. Am I correct? Yep. He says, I think it was 14 missiles to match what we dropped. Well, I would probably, I'm tending to agree with this. Only because I know that inside Iran, they control what their people see and hear. And they probably told all of the Iranian people in their best propaganda tones that they launched 14 against us and we launched 14 against them. They're fucking idiots and liars. Right? They're talking to their own people. They're probably telling their own people in Iran that they kicked the shit out of the military and killed a bunch of people, yada, yada, yada. It's what governments do, right? Hell, our own government. Oh, that was Robin Free who said, and I think it was 14 missiles to match what we dropped. They're probably telling their own people that they killed a bunch of us, right? But our own government in DC is allowed to lie to us. They're allowed to use propaganda, false statements, lies against us. You know, the whole George W. Bush Patriot Act, NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. They have just gone after us. Look at our country. Half the country hates the rest of the country. Half the country hates the laws. It was pretty funny. These fucking idiots actually came out today and admitted, yeah, Trump has the authority to do what he's done. I'm sure that they had to do that only because they've embarrassed themselves. These moron Democrats. Now, would I prefer Congress has to authorize the president to not only go to war, but also bomb underneath? Yeah, I'd love that. But our country, through its representatives in Washington, D.C., have demonstrated they're absolute abject morons. And if they had heard anything about this, they would have leaked it to the press, leaked it to our enemies, right, to make everything ineffective and to put our servicemen and our $1 billion worth of high-tech equipment, would have put it at risk. In fact, they would love to see our jets shot down. Just one hell of a mess. Uman says, they did give warning. Why would you tell your enemy when and where you're going to attack them? That's right. Yeah. If Iran did tell Qatar, hey, we're sending some missiles over there. Yeah. Now, I don't know what to believe, though. I really don't. Do I believe the Qataris? Do I believe the Iranians? Do I believe Washington, D.C.? In every instance now, I question them all. That is not only my right, but is probably the most intelligent thing to do. I don't trust anything anybody says because they're all willing to lie and fuck us over. Well, John, not when it comes to national security. Oh, really? Let me remind you about the Gulf of Tonkin incident when an American warship was supposedly attacked by the North Vietnamese and wasn't, according to none other than the Secretary of Defense from that era, Robert McNamara. Why would I trust them when they've lied to us repeatedly about 9/11? They've been releasing footage lately, again, of the so-called airplane that struck the Pentagon. It was a missile-shaped airplane that was way too small. And it just happened to take out the accounting section so that they couldn't explain, justify, or account for the $2.1 trillion that the Pentagon had lost up to that date in 2001. I don't trust them at all. Why should I? Why should I? We trusted Trump. We trusted the Attorney General. We trusted the FBI when they said they would release the Epstein documents, that justice would be served. And it hasn't. That's criticism that I think is absolutely legitimate. Why hasn't Pam Bondi been removed and replaced? She should be. She's had plenty of time now to do something, anything, and hasn't. In fact, I'm surprised that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel didn't show up in Florida when, yet again, another child trafficking ring has been busted, children saved. Surprised that she's not taking credit for that the way they did with drug busts and other crimes. Unbelievable, folks. This is the world we live in now. I can't trust my government to tell me the truth because they're allowed by a law that the government passed for itself to lie to you. Let's continue if we shall, huh? Wow, folks, it's good to have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and my self-defense. Diving Frog says, John, I watched 4 members of the board of Palantir get sworn in and commissioned in the Army as lieutenant colonels. No boot camp, no AIT, what the fuck? I'd like to know where you saw this. They got sworn in and commissioned in the Army as lieutenant colonels. Well, they don't go to boot camp. They go to OIC, Officers Candidate School. They don't have to do, they don't have to do what enlisted men do. I wish I knew more about this event. I'm not familiar with it. I don't like it. I certainly don't like them being part of the military and part of the Pentagon. I don't think it's a good idea. But this is the country we've got now, right? The Supreme Court has spoken once again, by the way. I don't want the hour to go by without this coming up. Once again, the Supreme Court has basically bitch-slapped Biden judges and says Trump can resume deporting illegal aliens to third-party countries like El Salvador and also South Sudan, wherever, because they're illegals. And if they're criminal or terrorist, you bet. So thank you, Supreme Court, for fucking doing your job for once. You know what this tells me is they're going to surprise us today, tomorrow, the next day with an absolutely retarded decision. I wonder, and do you wonder, who the dissenting votes were? Let me scan this real quick. Some of the aliens that are here from Laos, Vietnam, Cuba. So sending them to the south of Sudan puts them in danger. Oh, really? I have to worry about these fucking criminals and terrorists from other countries, them being put in danger? What about us? I really like this. This falls right along the lines with Redneck Roughnecks thing as well. If they're from one country, send them to another. If they're from a Muslim country, send them to a Christian-based or Catholic-based country like El Salvador. And if they're from Central or South America, send them to a Muslim country. You bet. Who gives a fuck about these retarded Biden, Obama, and other left-wing judges? Yep, too bad. So sad. Don't come here as a criminal and a terrorist and expect to be treated like gods. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything about who was a dissenting vote. But the judge was U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy, a Biden communist sack of shit appointee. Right? Said that they need meaningful due process. Sorry. Meaningful is subject to interpretation by judges. So they shouldn't have that. It was a 6-3 decision, meaning basically unanimous. Basically unanimous. But here we go. Sotomayor, Kagan, and I don't know what a woman is, Ketanji Brown Jackson, were the dissenting votes. Typical. Fucking morons, but typical. Man, we have just a minute left. Do we have one more item we need to discuss? And yes, Redneck Roughneck says, I'm hearing that no matter what plates you have on your tactical vest, it won't stop an F-150. Yeah, there's this kinetic energy, brother, kinetic energy. Yeah, well, if you're wearing bulletproof plates in a tactical vest and you get hit by an F-150, essentially what you're saying is you want to be served on that plate. You've been served by an American if you get hit by an F-150. It's like being served with papers or being served on a paper plate. There ain't going to be a whole lot left to you that's worth a shit. The time is coming. And I'm very glad to be in the great state of Florida, here in what remains of the free United States of America, and many other places, even in California, folks, even in Illinois or New York. There are places that are freedom-oriented. But always, please understand this. Even in those places where it's strongly Republican, freedom, strongly constitutional, you're going to find anywhere 3 to 4 or 5 people around you are Democrats. And those Democrats love what is being done to our country. Even where I'm at, 4 out of 10 people, 40% of the Floridians hate Florida, hate me, hate you, and hate this country. We are surrounded by domestic enemies and domestic terrorists. That is not, I repeat, not a recommendation to break a law, commit an act of violence, or do anything harmful and dangerous. It's a warning to you that they may come after you. And so be prepared, folks. You have a right to life, liberty, and to pursue happiness, to be free. God bless America, Semper Fi, and chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper?